have any experience with ICE, this is going to be a very useful session for you folks, and also useful session for refresher for all the folks that are working, the other 4. Okay, so let's first start. What is ICE? So ICE is a security management platform. So when I say ICE is a security management platform, so in the traditional networking, what were the security devices that were authenticating pre-ICE or before ICE? Anyone can answer. Before ICE,
Radius and TechX.
okay, great. So radius and TechX, right? And what was the function of radius and what was the function of TechX? Anyone?
Authentication, accounting, authorization.
Yeah, that's the AAA.
Yeah, Radius is used for network access control and TechX is used for remote authentication.
Great. Right? Network access control and TechX is used for remote authentication. We also called as RA, correct? Great. So this was the situation pre-ICE. So once ICE was introduced, both of these were included in ICE. Not just this, but also other security features. So ICE is a all-in-one solution. All-in-one solution for our security needs. So before starting with architecture, just want to understand the knowledge of you folks. So how is ICE used? Anyone? There are 3 ways ICE is used. Anyone?
Are you asking regarding to the services that we are using or the AAA platform?
I'm asking regarding the architecture. So in a production network, how is ICE used?
Wireless,
It can be a
wired,
stand. Yeah,
Awesome. Wireless.
wired,
Wired wireless.
Wired wireless, great. And
it can be a VM appliance.
okay, VM and physical is that's the that's the base, that's the hardware. Okay, so the architecture, wired wireless, and okay, does anyone know that ICE is used in software defined access, SDA?
Yes.
Okay, and does anyone know that ICE is also used as standalone for a medium-sized company, wherein they just use this for authentication only, which is your AAA only, for a uh, very small scaled company. Okay, so they don't want to buy any other authentication, they just use ICE. So these are the 3 ways ICE is used. The first way is standalone. The second is it is used for wired and wireless along with standalone. And thirdly, it is used as a set. When I say set, it is used for SDA. So nowadays, this is the trending part. ICE is used in software defined access. Okay. And does anyone have any knowledge about SDA? At least a basic information.
NAC estimate. PCI.
Sorry, someone was talking
Yeah.
something.
Worked on SD-WAN, ACI and DNAC.
Uh-huh. Great. So you said DNAC. Good to know.
This,
Then,
yes. ACI
uh-huh.
and SD-WAN.
Okay. Okay, so these are the three components of SDA. Okay. And now that you have joined a demo class, I want you to take away something that is currently running in production and which is in high demand. Okay. So there are three parts of SDA. The first one is DNA center, the second is ICE, and third is the network devices, okay, which are part of the underlay and overlay. So ICE plays a very important part in SDA. So that is why learning ICE is very crucial. It is not just a security appliance anymore. It is not just a security appliance anymore. It is part of the entire architecture. It is part of an entire architecture which plays a very, very important role. So basically, you have a DNA center. Now, what is a DNA center? DNA center is the controller. Okay, has anyone heard about the word controller before? Controller, we use the word controller for ACI. In ACI, we use
Yes.
Epic controller.
Yes.
In SD-WAN also we
Yeah,
use
yes.
controllers, correct?
Yes.
So basically controller is the brains or mind of a SDN solution, software defined networking solution. Okay, this is a piece of software. This is a piece of software that makes a normal traditional networking into a SDN. What is the full form of SDN? Anyone?
Software defined network.
Defined networking.
Right? So it is networking which is software defined. When I say software defined, a traditional networking which is enhanced by the software. How it is enhanced? It is enhanced by the piece of software in the form of a controller. Okay, this is the very basic and very much in high level. Okay, coming back. So the DNA center, which is a controller, along with ICE, they work together to form a fabric. Okay, so what is a fabric and all those things we can discuss further. So just a FYI, the importance of ICE is right now too much because ICE is just not used as a standalone. ICE is not just used for wired and wireless communication. So ICE is now used as a important component of SD access. Okay, so with this understanding, let's start. Now we know what is ICE. ICE is a security policy management platform. Okay, so what is the role? The role of ICE is to enforce to provide the network security for the enforcement points. How does that do it? It does it through the AAA functionality. And one of our friend already discussed what a AAA is. AAA, it comes pretty much basic. I don't want to get into that part. I'm sure you all are aware about it. Okay. Now, what's the process? The process is, so this is the user and this is the ICE cube. When I use the word cube or cluster, both are synonyms. I'm sure you people know what a cluster is, right? Cluster is a set of nodes. Cluster is a set of nodes. Okay. In this case, it is a set of ICE nodes. So the process is, as the user on an endpoint attempts to access a network. So basically, if a user is trying to access a network here, the network access device. Let's type in this word. This word keeps on coming a lot of times. Network access device. Anyone knows what a network access device is? Any idea?
A switch, WLC.
Router, switch,
Great. We have a very
wireless,
interactive audience today. Great. Switch, wireless controller, router. That is it? Or a
access,
are we
access
missing
point,
anything?
firewall, firewall,
Yeah, router, firewall. Okay. Controller / access point. Right? So it's actually access point. So we are just keeping the controller for our FII. Or a what else?
access, FINAC, load balance,
Great. So this completes our network access devices. So it can be any of these. It can be any of these in my diagram right now, which I just draw. So a device is trying to access, and in this case, here it can be a firewall. It can be a firewall here, okay? So in this case, it can be a firewall. So basically, the NAT forwards all the relevant authentication parameters to the ICE. So basically, the device is trying to communicate, access some resource. Okay. The first thing it has to do is the authentication. For the authentication, the NAD, the network access device here, in our situation, a firewall, will forward the request to the ICE. Okay. So once the request is forwarded, ICE checks the policies. What are those policies and all? We'll discuss in detail about all of those. How to create policies, how to manage policies, how to troubleshoot policies, okay, and how to monitor them before troubleshooting. Okay, so ICE checks the policies and then ICE sends back the request. So ICE responds back to the NAD with the resulting security policy to be applied to the user defined by the radius attributes. So basically, in the previous discussion, I told ICE is a combination of radius and TACACS and more. So basically, ICE itself has integrated with has an integrated feature of radius and TACACS, and also it works based on profiling and posturing. Now I'm discussing this on a very, very high level.
Sir, one question like, is ICE Cisco proprietary or is it industry agnostic?
No, Cisco is ICE proprietary. It is the Cisco product. Okay.
Okay.
It is a Cisco product and proprietary for Cisco only. Okay.
And the cluster or cube you told, are these, can I say that these are servers or these are like cloud environments?
Okay. So when I said the cluster or cube, I mean to say that ICE cluster. So basically ICE can be in multiple forms. It can be used as a standalone, as a single, or it can be used as a dual, or as it can be used as a cluster. Okay. So basically the different architectures of ICE. So when I say cluster, you can think that there are multiple ICE nodes. Okay. ICE nodes, multiple ICE nodes.
Okay.
Clear?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question, folk? Cool. So let's move ahead. Okay. So along with the radius and tech acts, ICE has the additional features called as profiling and posturing. So this is our to and fro traffic, in a very high level, Okay. So once the device is authenticated, then the device will access the needed resource. Okay. So this is the process on a very high level. Okay. So I spoke about advanced features, profiling and posturing. Let's discuss them in brief for today. So what is profiling? So profiling can dynamically identify endpoints. An endpoint attempts to access the network. Again, let's go back to our own diagram that we are discussing here, right? So let me just clean up a couple of things here. Okay, fine. Firstly, profiling can dynamically detect our endpoint, in this case, this one. As an endpoint attempts to access the network, ICE, based on the predefined security policy, can profile the device. So basically, what is profiling? Profiling is identifying the device. Profiling is identifying the device, or I should say endpoint. So the word device is device slash endpoint. So before this, what devices does ICE authenticate? That is something that we should be very clear about. Okay. Devices ICE authenticates. ICE authenticates all the devices. Anywhere there is a AAA, there is ICE. And there is no place where there is no AAA. Does everyone agree with that? In a network architecture, each and every network device or endpoint needs a AAA. Agreed? Yes? No? Yes? No, folks?
Most of them,
Yes.
yes.
Do you recall anything that uses that does not use a AAA? Is there any network device or endpoint that does not use a AAA?
We are not using ICE in our OT network, which is completely isolated from the internet. Like OT is there. We are not using ICE over there.
Okay, that is called as a DMZ zone. Is that correct?
Yes. They don't have contact with the ICE, so because of other network. So means like internet or another corporate network. So it is completely isolated. So there we are not using ISE.
Okay.
Rest of the areas we use it.
Okay. So there is in the DMZ zone, so there are network devices, right?
Yes, yes, there are.
And there are servers also.
Yes, yes. We are using the devices for the network devices for network acceleration, NAC devices, but for
Hmm.
the client authentication, NAC we are not using.
Okay. So for in the DMZ for your network devices, how do you authenticate?
We are using that ICE from the network devices, but for the NAC is there, no? Client
Okay.
side, the users we are not using for that.
Okay. But
That
still for
our
part
radius
of
ICE.
it,
Yes, if you're using it.
but part of it you're still using AAA, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So anyone else? Is anyone have any contention on this? So any network device or user without a AAA possible right now in this current world? Okay.
No.
The answer is no. Why? Because of security concerns, right? Now it's all about security. That is why we are even automating. So now we have a new branch itself called as cyber security, which is on top of our security devices. Just a FYI, okay? Just a FYI, ICE is a security device. ICE is a security device. On top of ICE, you will put on a cyber security device again, which is going to be a completely different topic. But just a FYI, there is a difference between security and cyber security. Does everyone agree with that? There's a difference between security and cyber security.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
Yes.
yes, I do.
Okay. Now, before even learning ICE, okay, which is a security device, we have to understand the basic thing. What is the difference between security and cyber security? So what is security and what is cyber security? So this is for your, what do you say? I would say homework. Go back, check. What is the difference? Okay. Everyone agrees there's a difference, but what's the difference? On what layer does the security function and what layer does the cyber security function? Okay. So we need to have that clarity. Coming back. Uh, so now we know what profiling is. Profiling is identifying the devices. Okay, when I say device, device includes endpoints as well as the network devices. Okay, it includes the network device as well as the endpoints. Okay, what does it identify? It identifies the manufacturer. Okay, it identifies the function of the endpoint, whether it is an IP phone, camera, network printer, router, tablet, desktop, laptop, all of this. And then it conducts the network level assessment of the endpoint. Profiling, the definition, it lists the network devices. Okay. So, and what is the function? It provides the inventory. Okay. And how does it provide that? How does it provides that? It provides, it actually identifies, manages, and takes the inventory. So these are the three responsibilities of profiling feature. Okay. Once you profile the device, based on the profile, you can apply the policy. So ICE first profiles the device, and then after profiling the device, it will posture. So what is posturing? So before going to posturing, any question on profiling? Are we good with profiling? We are going through very basics here, and
Yes. Okay.
this is a demo class, so I'll not be going in depth. So I'll keep it very short and condensed. Are we good?
Yes, it's okay.
Great. Okay. What about other folks? Are we fine till here?
Yeah, good till now.
Yeah,
Great.
good.
Great. Cool. Okay, now let's start with the posturing. So basically with profiling, what we did, we identified the device. Okay. Now with posturing, what we are doing, we are using a network access control NAC agent, right? So the network access control and the previous discussed network access device. Now these two terminologies are different. The network access device we already discussed. Network access control is an agent. When I say agent, it is a piece of code. It's a software. It's a piece of code. It is software. Now question for you all. Now we have 4 people who are already working on ICE. So which NAC agent are you people working on?
Any connect.
Okay. Cisco.
Same here. Cisco AnyConnect.
Okay. Next.
Microsoft built-in. Microsoft built-in, which is already there in the PC.
Okay, sorry, I missed you. What was the name?
Microsoft built-in, which is already there in the PC.
Okay,
We
Microsoft built-in feature is what you're telling, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? One is Cisco.
We are not using, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, Aarti.
we are not using posturing services yet in our deployment. So
Okay. So any connect? What else? That's it? That's
Clear pass. Clear pass.
sorry, what was
Clear
that? Can you
pass is
type it up?
VPM.
Clear
VPM.
pass. Clear pass is for the Aruba, right? Aruba it is.
Aruba. Yes.
It will not work with ICE, right? It is vendor different, right?
Okay.
Aru-
Yeah, no, yeah, I just now I joined. Okay, so I don't know the question. So I thought this is related to some authentication.
So just a FYI, so ICE works with other vendors also.
Can we add the Aruba switches on ICE? No, right? Only the Cisco manufacturers we can add, right? In the NAT, network access devices can be only Cisco, right?
So network access devices. So basically, now this is for your AAA. Okay.
Mhm.
So when this is for AAA, I can also authenticate my load balancer here, which is for F5. You agree?
Yeah, yeah. But okay, okay. No, but I thought because okay, got it.
right? So basically here it's not about the vendor in any way, because here the thing is we have to think in terms of AAA every time. So it is always about the AAA. So the vendor, you are not actually integrating anything here. There is no word called as integration. So I come from a different technology. I actually come from different types of technology. Like I said, I'm into enterprise infrastructure, data center, security, wireless, right? And now automation and AI as well. So basically, with this understanding, there is no integration that happens with ICE. It's always AAA. So the integration that you would do is with a Cisco device that works in terms of architecture. And that is why I came up with this question even before discussing the ICE. What are the 3 ways that you can use ICE? This is why I came up with the question, because I see almost 10 folks are new to ICE and I want you to take away some basics from here. Okay, so when you are working on a SDA, software defined access, at that time you will be integrating part of DNA center with ICE, because they have to work very closely. So that comes under your SDA architecture, which we will not be covering. Okay, so this is the FYI and a very important topic for you to remember. Okay, so with ICE we are not integrating anything. It's all about AAA. Okay, so coming back, so Cisco AnyConnect is one of them. Okay, apart from that, you can also use all of these that are mentioned here: antivirus software, anti-spy software, any other security or non-security software and services as a NAC agent. Okay, you can take away this point today. So for posturing, we use an agent, and that agent is basically a piece of software. Okay, it's a piece of software, and it can be any of these. It can also be a AnyConnect also. Okay, that's point number 1. Point number 2, if a posture adheres to the implemented security on Cisco ISE, very important. These 2 points. Now here these 2 points discuss about the vulnerability. Don't mind my spelling here. I know that's incorrect. So what's a vulnerability? Anyone?
Like the weakness, the
Mm-hmm.
origin.
Open points.
Okay, weakness in a very lame word. Okay, what else?
A device having some unwanted things in it, which is not good for the network.
We as a network engineer, when we say vulnerability, we use a specific word.
Any bug or in the any
Great.
firmware and
This is what we use, right? Bug. This is what we use all the time. And what we do when we find a bug, we report. Whom do we report to? We report to the vendor. Correct?
Yeah.
Everyone agrees?
Yeah.
When we do our compliance test as the network security engineer, how many of you do the compliances test?
Basically, it is done by the cybersecurity people, right? With their college tool, you will do the vulnerability check and they will compile the device with the vulnerability and then send to network team.
Okay, so that's the now for the network devices I'm talking about. For your own Cisco switches and routers, don't you do it?
Yeah, we do.
Right?
Basically,
Yes,
when we are
yes.
going to upgrade also, we basically check with the current version
Correct.
if there is a bug or no.
Correct. Okay. So basically, now here, this is one of the very important functions of ICE. So what ICE does, so after providing the AAA, okay, after providing the AAA, so what ICE does is ICE observes or monitors the activity. Okay, now these two terms discuss that. These two uh, these 2 points discuss that. Okay, the first point says if the posture adheres to the implemented security policy on Cisco ISE, additional network access can be allowed via the authorization policy. If the device is adhering to the implemented security policy, the next level of access can be given to the device. And if the device does not adhere to the implemented security policy, then it will be mentioned as a non-compliance, hence it will be degraded or even removed from the network. So this is the function of the posturing. In ICE. So everything will be monitored via the agent. And I'll give you a different example. Okay. I'll give you a different example. So you have your list of websites that you can access, right? I'm not telling that ICE is going to do that. There are so many other softwares that do that from Microsoft. But just for you to get the understanding, in case there are a couple of resources that you are supposed to not access, if you are trying to access, then ICE is going to monitor that and it is going to remove it. And the same thing, there are other piece of softwares from other vendors also do it. So here it all depends on how you are actually managing ICE or how on for what responsibilities you are using ICE for. Have you heard about the word carbon, black carbon? There's something called as black carbon. There's a piece of code called as black carbon. Has anyone heard about it?
Yeah, I have heard.
Right? So this particular piece of code, this software also, software also manages the what do you say? It actually monitors everything in terms of the activity that is done on the end host. Okay, so it's not just ICE who can do this, but also other vendors also can do this. Okay, but this is one of the features that is already pre-included with ICE. Okay, next point. The depth of posturing can be further enhanced with third-party security systems called as mobile device management systems. So this is where I was leading to in the previous point. It is not just ICE who does it. It is other third parties also that do that. But what you can do, you can integrate those softwares in the form of MDM, mobile device management systems. What are the list of those and all of that? We can discuss that later. Okay, so we can enhance the security by including the mobile device management systems along with ICE. So Cisco now knows that it is not the only player. Cisco knows that if it has to survive in the market, it has to go multi-vendor. It has to support the other vendors. So now that is the reason Cisco is now supporting other vendors also. Has anyone heard about the word ping ID?
Yeah. It's similar to the authenticator, right?
Correct. Does anyone know that ping ID can also be integrated with ICE? Do you know this use case? Yes, no, folks?
Yeah, we are using it.
No.
But in ICE, I don't know.
Okay, so there are
No.
two ways. There are two ways you can use ping ID. Okay. Ping ID is a US company. Okay, so they have this particular product. It's a piece of software that is there. Okay, on your mobile device. It is in the form of your APK and also in the form of exe. Basically, there's a server that authenticates. Okay, that sends an authentication request to your mobile device or your tablet or your laptop. Okay, then you say that yes. Okay, this is me, and it then sends back it to the server, and that server then authenticates that okay, this is this guy, and then the access is given. So most of the times, how many of you folks use ping ID?
I'm using.
Okay, one. Apart from that, okay. So and who is that? Who is using that?
Should
Shubin. Hey, Shubin. I know Shubin from the previous discussion. We are good friends. So, Shubin, have you observed that most of the times, one or two times, actually ping ID fails?
yeah, it fails.
It fails, right?
Yes.
So this is for everyone else. So basically, this particular authentication code or piece of software, it fails in the beginning. And after the third time, it actually authenticates. Why it fails for the first two times? Because it is not able to do the round trip. It is not able to do the round trip for that ping ID server. So basically, rather than, okay, coming back, there are two ways you can use ping ID. The first one is standalone and the second is ICE. Now I spoke about the standalone. Once you integrate ping ID with ICE, so basically ping ID will not go to its own server. It will come to ICE, which is in your enterprise, and it will authenticate through your enterprise. This is just one of the examples that I'm giving you. How you can integrate a third party with ICE. So this one or two times that it is going to disconnect because of the round trip timers, which is not an issue because no one is bothered about an employee, right? Unless you're connected, no one is bothered. Rather than going to the ping ID servers, if you want to keep it private, you can also keep it private through your ICE server. Okay, just a FYI, this is one way, one use case of ICE in the production. So now let's discuss the difference between profiling and posturing. We discussed profiling and posturing till now, and Let's have the difference. Profiling uses network level communication to determine the information about the endpoints. Cost sharing leverages the information that resides on the endpoints via an agent. So this is the difference between profiling and cost sharing. I am pausing here. Any questions?
Hi. Is it possible for you to show any real-time demo or a real-life scenario where profiling and posturing are working? Is it possible if in this class?
Yeah. So I can show that in the labs. Please enroll for the same, and we can do that.
Okay.
So any other questions?
No.
Okay. Are we all good?
So can you explain the lab, what kind of lab you show to us and what kind of use case you have been will show to us?
Sure. I'll do that. Any other questions on cost sharing and profiling? Okay.
Yeah, but the switch level configuration is there, no, for the NAC. Are you giving the means I don't understand that properly because there are a lot of configuration the switches levels, interface level also for the endpoints and all. There are a lot of things like MAB, open dot one x. So that will also you'll explain, right? What is that MAB authentication or dot one x?
Yes, I'll be discussing all of that, Shubin, in the next discussion. So this is just a brief discussion
It's a
in
lot of
terms of a very high level.
yeah.
So this is,
I worked ICE like 2 years, 2, 3 years, but I don't know the basics. Simply, I'm working like whatever things they're giving to me, I'm working on that.
okay.
Adding the network devices, checking the authentication in the live logs, like that I'm doing.
Okay.
Just one small question. Can I say that profiling on a high level, profiling means just detecting automatically detecting whether the system is compliant or not, and posturing means applying the policy or degrading if it is non-compliant, right? Am I right?
Yeah, the second statement is correct. The first statement is not just in terms of compliance. It also does the complete detailing about the device. So basically, dynamically, you are actually showing up on the ICE. So basically, ICE will know everything about you. What's your name? What is your make? What is your IP address? What's your MAC address? All of that is listed in profiling. So once ICE knows everything about you, right? Then it will do the specific post sharing based on the policy.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So we had almost like 15 minutes of